Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the branding experience. We are now in week 13, unless we are in a quad semester, and we are now into week 7. So we're into our final week. So let's get rolling into today and see what we're going to look at the game plan. So today's game plan, we're going to talk about networking. We're going to look at engagement, some little tips to keep an eye on when we're engaging in the importance of networking and how important it is in the workforce. We have a video, a short little video that talks about networking. It talks about it in a group format, but we convert that to that you can make the connection with regards to your personal networking. And then last but not least, we should be well into assignment number 2. You should be working on that because that is due next, this week if you're in the quad semester. So you should be all right because that is due next week. This week. So let's get right on that. Okay. Let's look at some engagement through networking. What does that mean? Engagement, well, if we look at that word, that means getting involved, right? So you physically have to engage yourself because networking is a two-way streak. I think a lot of people, I was going to say students, but everyone has this, no matter what age you are, have to understand that people aren't going to come to you. You need to make the effort and go forward and seek out networking. And where do you start? Go to places you're passionate about. Where in the field that you want to go, and that's where to start. Okay. Evaluate your current contacts. Is there people that maybe you need to remove from your friends list and decide that it's time to move on? Or are there people that maybe that the flip side that you think, hey, you know what, this person probably is more people in my wheelhouse, and I probably should maybe spend more time networking with that person. So go through and look at who are the positives in that and the negatives. Okay, so evaluate contacts, and a good way to kind of do that is to kind of step back and look at that contact, and do you see yourself being that person? If the answer is no, then maybe that's something you need to reevaluate. All right. Number 3, meet and mingle. Get out there. Make some efforts to meet these people. I know now during COVID it's a little difficult, but you have to be creative, whether that being either DM them on Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok, whatever you need to do, and start making that connection. Start following people that you want to be involved with in that circle that you want to be associated with. But get out there and just start introducing yourself. There's nothing to be afraid of. If anything, you're going to learn more about yourself. Like I mentioned earlier about throwing darts. Remember? This is where it starts. Start throwing some darts so that you learn. You'll learn fast, so don't try and hit it out of the park. The video will talk some really good tips about meeting people and how to address that, and we'll talk about that in a bit. And anyone's so you're going to continue. So any contacts that you find that you want to pursue and keep in there from your evaluation component up here, nurture them. Get out there. Get out there and continue with that contact and maybe make it stronger. Okay? But don't, even if you have to write a list down of who, because sometimes it could be a lot of people, and you just think of, plan it out. Take your time and who you want to talk to, because a lot of jobs, 90% of jobs are never posted, at least the good ones. They're usually done through networking, so that's why we're wanting to focus on this. And spend time social networking, right? So that's, again, you guys should be pretty solid at doing this now. So make sure, we talked about it before, being professional. Remember, you are the brand, right? You're the product. Your name is the company, but you are the product. So make sure that you're doing it professionally in an area. And remember, I even mentioned before that if you want to have 2 accounts, that would probably be a good idea. That way you can separate your personal life from your professional life, right? That brand, okay? but spend time doing it. Even if you make time, it's okay. Every Wednesday night, I'm going to just spend some time working on my professional account and just making the odd reposts or follow or tweet or whatever it may be. And then if you haven't updated your LinkedIn account, now would be a good time. If you haven't had one, then now is a good time to start that as well. All right. So let's watch this video. It gives us some tips on networking. Then she talks about it being at a conference, but it's the same thing. Rule applies to your personal networking. So here we go.
I guess rule number one of networking is introducing yourself. So hi, my name's Sunny Lenarduzzi, and I wanted to also say that because a lot of people have butchered my last name in the last month. So just so we're clear, it's not Lenarduzzi, it's not Lenarduzzi, it's Sunny Lenarduzzi. So just in case you were wondering. And I wanted to talk about networking today because it's a topic that makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. And I'm included in that category. When I was first starting in my career, I found it super awkward to go to events and try and introduce myself and try and talk to people that I knew really didn't give a crap about what I was doing. So I've learned a lot. And the basic principle of networking.
So we're going to look at this also from an interview standpoint. So when she's talking about networking, the same comes if you're coming into an interview and making that connection, because sometimes networking starts even in an interview phase. Okay.
Is to stop thinking about it that way and start thinking about it as building real relationships with people.
Right.
That are mutually beneficial and that stem from a common interest or a quality conversation. So in today's video, I'm going to share my 5 L's for networking without feeling like a total awkward weirdo. Here we go. The first L is lead. And this means a few different things. So let's start with taking the lead. Basically what I mean by that is before you even go to an event or a conference, figure out who's going to be there and do your research. This takes out that anxiety of feeling like you're going to walk into the room and you have no idea what to talk about with people. Instead, you're going in armed and prepared for conversations, and you know exactly what talking points to bring up, and sometimes you know what talking points not to bring up so you can avoid awkward conversations. So do your research. That's my first point. Take the lead on doing your research on people that are going to be at the event, and that way you'll feel more comfortable having conversations with them.
So how that applies into an interview phase. If you've never been to a location, say you're meeting someone in the other side of the city and you've never been to that location, it wouldn't hurt. I know I've done it in the past because it's been such a drive. I may just go for a day and just to get comfortable going there. Because your second time going there, it takes the nerves out of it and you'd be more comfortable. But then you can talk to it, right? Because you've been there before, not being everything's all new. Getting to know who you're actually going to be interviewing, getting to know their names, getting to know more about the company, all that ties into not just networking, but also from your first interview phase. Okay? So it's a good little tip.
The thing I mean by taking the lead is figure out things to talk about outside of work and business. What creates real relationships with people is those common interests and things that you wouldn't even necessarily think about talking about at a business event. Let's say it's your favorite TV show or some sort of world event, something that's going on in the news. Everybody wants to jump in on those topics, so that breaks the ice and allows you to take the lead in the conversation so there aren't any weird pauses. And also, don't feel the need to force a joke to break the ice, because unless you're 100% positive that that joke is going to slay people, it usually comes across really, really uncomfortable and awkward, and you might offend somebody. I'm speaking from experience on this front. So just saying, don't force the funny if it doesn't come naturally to you. Just talk about things that you know and feel comfortable talking about. The second L is so important. Listen. Listen way more than you talk. We all know those people who go into events or conversations with an objective, and all they do is talk at you, and they may pause and pretend they're listening to you, but really they're not at all, and they're just thinking about their next point. That is so transparent, and it's so off-putting to people. So make sure that you're actually there, present, and listening to the conversation so you can offer valuable insights. That goes a long, long way. And if you're truly, truly listening, it will allow you to find opportunities to connect somebody with the right person or offer value to their life or their business. And that's what's going to solidify your relationship with them.
So that's key. When you're listening, that's nice, nice pause, so that you can actually get that real conversation, because then you can engage into it. But if you're kind of tone out or tune out, you probably will miss key points that can help you with the conversation and make that connection, because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, right?
And allow you to further the conversation outside of the event, whether that's via email, a phone call, or a follow-up meeting. The next L is really simple. Look people in the eyes. And as simple as that is, it's often missed. And whether that's due to a lack of confidence or whatever it is, it's rude, first of all, because it shows that you're disinterested in the conversation that you're having with the person in front of you or the group of people in front of you. And also, it makes people think that they can't trust you because you're not maintaining eye contact with them. So it gives you that shifty-eyed sort of look, and people are wondering what your motives really are for being there. So really, really important, whether you're talking to one person or a group of people, maintain eye contact with everybody that you're having that conversation with. The next.
So to add to that, when I've done many interviews over the time, yes, it kind of keeps that shifty, but really we're looking at people that are confident and wanted to speak to people. So my first impression before I've even opened up a resume or they've even opened their mouth, if they're not giving me eye contact, my belief is that they're probably not going to really be a good fit, because I need a team player. Unless it's something that's, a phone call person where someone just answer phones, it might be a little bit different. But even then, I want somebody that can be part of the team of above and beyond the job, right? That may be required. So you need to be making that eye contact. Practice it. It plays a huge role. And yes, what she said is true. Kind of shifty, not trustworthy. Those are the subliminal messages that come from it. But really, at the end of the day, we're looking for people that can be part of the team, and someone who can't contribute to the team will just move on to somebody else. Okay.
L is kind of funny. It's leave. So leave something to the imagination, and also straight up leave the event. Don't overstay your welcome in a conversation with somebody. What I mean by that is when you try and force conversation or you feel like you're stuck, you tend to get into different conversations and areas of topics that you're not really comfortable with, and you may start rambling, and that's just never a good look. And it causes the person that you're talking to become disinterested in what you're saying, and that way you won't be as memorable to them. If you leave on a high note from an event or even from a conversation with somebody, it makes them want to continue that conversation and continue that relationship with you. So, like I said, leave something to the imagination and exit gracefully. You can plan these out ahead of time. You can plan your exit strategies for any conversation ahead of time, and you can do it in a very polite way. So make sure that you know how to get out of that conversation.
So to talk to that, that's a very good point. It's also nice, even though she says don't know when to exit, like kind of don't overstay your welcome, is when you're talking during an interview or you're networking with some people, and sometimes you can get off passionate about something, you start talking and talking. Keep it simple. If you realize you've been talking for like 30 seconds to a minute to tell something that's off topic, which is sometimes really good, because that's when sometimes you make the personal connections when you go off topic a little bit, which is fantastic, because it makes that personal connection. But if you go beyond that, then it becomes kind of weird sometimes and maybe too much. So just keep it, if you're going off topic, first of all, keep, that if you do, because you'll know it, just keep it short. Don't get all excited and keep going and get way off topic. It's okay to go off a bit, but then leave it, and then leave it for wanting more, so that it might get engaged conversation. Now, the person that you're networking with or during your interview, if they decide to continue with it, that's fine. But keep in mind that you want to get back to why we're here to begin with. Okay?
The last L is to linger, which I know sounds weird because I just talked about leaving, but this is in a different sense. So say the conversation's over, say the event's over, say the conference is over. You want to maintain those relationships. That's the whole key part of networking. So how you do this is you can follow people on social media. You can write them an email, which is my preferred method. You send an email, say it's somebody that I had a conversation with and I know I could help them or connect them with somebody in my community that would be beneficial to them. I always send a follow-up email and say, so nice to meet you. You met me here, just as a reminder to them. because people are busy and they may forget. And if you do need help with X, Y, and Z, here's my contact information for future reference. And then if it's somebody that you're talking to who maybe is in a much higher role than you or a higher position than you, you can always just follow up and thank them for their time. That always goes a long way. Keep it brief and just say, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the conversation. This is the takeaway that I took from it, and I'm truly grateful for it, so that they know that you actually got something out of that interaction, because that makes people feel good. And then leave it at that. And if you want to build on those relationships later on, you will have another opportunity to do so. But again, don't overstay your welcome and don't force it. At the end.
So a really good tip with that as well is after an interview, thanking them and say, just thank you for your time. And maybe from that conversation, if it depending on what the networking is, maybe it's not an interview, maybe you just met somebody, and maybe from the meeting, you saw something that that person might enjoy. So maybe you want to share an Instagram post or a Twitter post or something that kind of relates to it. So it gives you it gives them the idea that you were actually listening during the conversation. That's something, they make that personal connection. That's a great little tip. But sometimes a lot of conversations arise after an event, and that's what she was saying. When people are kind of over it and just want a little bit more relaxed and kind of not on guard versus first time, it's okay. But just like she says, just don't hang around for too long. If you're networking with someone, stay around a little bit if you need to, but then bug out. Okay.
Networking is about just creating a genuine community of people that you share common interests with, and also going in without an agenda for what you need to sell, but instead for how you can help other people.
That's key. People want to listen to how you can contribute to their problems or anything that you may help. And sometimes you don't even know what those are. So look at what your skill set is. You could just gently bring up a conversation like, I'm really good at editing videos or Excel or sales or something along that lines, but not coming off too aggressive, but just lightly hearted talking about it and saying, hey, I noticed that you have a pretty solid sales team. I've really enjoyed doing that. I've been pretty successful in my life. That would be something that you can kind of just introduce, saying there's a skill set. If you ever need somebody, let me know. I'm glad to help. Nice little way to throw it in there. Not saying, hey, if you're looking to hire somebody, but if you're ever looking for help, I'd gladly help you out. It's always a great little tip to finish off. So I think we're going to end it right there. So keep those little tips in mind. And again, it's so important for networking because like I mentioned before, most jobs, decent jobs, are usually found through someone else. So you never know who's going to offer you that job. You got to assume everyone has a contact that might fit. And if you don't, then now's the time to start. I mean, you're young, you got lots of miles ahead of you, so by all means, just get out there and follow your passion. I like to I think I mentioned this before, is find or an area, field, that if you had to work, it could be anything, it doesn't matter what the field is, but if you would do it for free, so you wouldn't get paid, just totally on your own time, and money wasn't an issue, is there a job that you would do it for free? And if there is, and that might be help as a good starting point to find out that, hey, this is the field I should really get into because I'm really passionate about it. Because sometimes passion it kind of gets lost in it because you're saying, oh, I'm really passionate. But think of something that way from a different point of view, and that's probably a good place to start because you'll enjoy, right? Because being happy is most important from a mental health standpoint. Okay, so let's look up. So we are wrapping up. So we are now, like I said, we are in week 13. So I want you guys to do the week 13 checklist. There's one video assignment, number 9, that is due. And then you should be wrapping up assignment number 2 and get that submitted, all right? The next video, we're in week 14, we're wrapping up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me. You can even message me in the video, in the comment, and I can help you there if you need to. But other than that, stay safe, and I'll see you next video.